the second WoWDigSite.com podcast. This is your host speaking, Uriah, the admin of WoWDigSite.com. Today I got Morpson with me here on the podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. This month on the podcast, we wanted to discuss the gold you can get from Archaeology, the potential experience points you can get from Archaeology, from surveying and all that. We also want to talk about New Museum, how we never really got it in the game, but Blizzard apparently still has plans, still wants there to be some other reason to gather these artifacts and to complete the projects. We're going to talk about maybe getting daily quests with Archaeology, what's to come basically. Maybe we'll get some kind of consumables down the road, like a scroll or something that we could potentially find, survey, dig up. We're going to touch on the dungeon buffs, whether that was a success or not by Blizzard, and also getting the rares. Like what we think is the best path for farming your rares for Archaeology towards your professor title, and just getting every item in Archaeology, every artifact, which Morpson will talk more about later. And we're going to discuss our favorite rares so far in the game, and what we potentially would like to see be added to the game.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Uriah, for doing another podcast. I'm really glad to see that these are keeping going. I want to start out by saying that Bashi was unable to come with us. He has some family stuff going on, and we just wanted to say that he's in our prayers.
You can't expect the Bashi and Morp podcast later on. They plan to ramble together, maybe get drunk, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're just going to discuss, their rise to the 32 rares and all that, the journey.
Yeah, we also have some other ideas that we're spitting around, a little side podcast. We're going to keep doing the monthly podcast, but along with that, we're thinking of doing some other little side projects inside of WoWDigSite.com, such as, once we develop a guide. I've actually been talking with Jinzy, the winner of the MMO guide competition, trying to get them to come on and see if they wanted to do like an audiobook style version of their guide. If not, one of us will do it. Just have a very in-depth podcast about how to archaeologize. All right. So what's up first, Mr. Uriah?
Well, just to touch on that guide thing, that is something that will be coming to the site. Sooner or later here, we are going to basically take the guide, that one on MMO, and with their permission, we're updating it. We're going to try to make it the most comprehensive thing you can find on Archaeology, so... Yeah, and we have got some feedback from the first podcast and all that. One thing people want to know is the gold and XP you can get from Archaeology. Not everyone does Archaeology, when it hit 85, they want to do it before then. And some people are like me, I know they have several level 80 alts that are just sitting there, they still haven't leveled up. People want to know if, it's viable to use Archaeology to level up. Some people will farm herbs, some people will mine, all the way to 85, which, it's kind of nice since they did add XP gains to gathering professions like that. I don't think you get it for fishing, though. I always thought that was weird.
I don't even know. Well, I know from my personal experience with doing Archaeology, I made about 67,000 gold from just selling the gray items. I did 3,500 plus solves. So I made a little bit more on average, and I made probably about 300 plus thousand gold from selling keystones. That was more near the start of the launch of Cataclysm, so you won't be able to make that much money, but yeah, you could definitely make gold from doing it.
Yeah, you mentioned the keystone bit. I mean, that's the same for me. I got all my troll rares and all that, but again, like Tolvir's the big selling point, but you can definitely make some gold off of it.
Yeah, the prices have definitely gone down they were selling for 2,500 gold at the start of Cataclysm, but on most servers I expect them still to be a few hundred.
Oh yeah, I can tell you mine, like I said, at least the Tolvir ones still sell pretty high.
All right, so let's talk about the experience that you actually gained from Archaeology. I don't know it's the exact percentage based of it, but you do every time that you go and land in a dig site, you can dig up 3 artifact packs on the ground, and every time you do dig, you do get experience. I personally just was doing a project for wowdigsite.com where I sent a BOA to an alt that was level 80, and I tried to see if having that rare would stop me from getting it. And I dug for about 2 days, and I gained about 2 levels just in the process of trying to get that. So I don't know if you're wanting to actually do archaeology, and you have a goal. If you're on your alt and you want to get some achievements out of it, you can definitely get some good experience out of it. What do you think, Uriah? How's that compared to mining and herbing and everything else?
Well, the thing with mining and herbing is, you can sell that stuff. That's obviously a big moneymaker. With archaeology, some people, I would think they wouldn't want to do archaeology on their alt. They figure they're going to do it on their main. They'll be happy, complacent with that.
Yeah.
Because, it does take a lot of time, especially if you are shooting for all 32 of them rares and whatnot. So, if you just want your professor title, you need 20 rares. Since they've added the rares to the game in 4.1, there's more rares to get. So it's a little bit easier to get that professor title since you only need 20 of the 32.
And if you're doing it on your alts, might as well do it when you're level 80 and get the experience out of it, as opposed to leveling up to 85 and then going out and doing it.
So, if you're going to take the profession serious on any character that you're leveling, it is a pretty viable path, from 80 to 85.
Yeah.
Just doing that XP. Like I said, I have friends that level their alts from 80 to 85 mining and herbing, but archaeology's one, and you can get the good common items to sell, and if you don't care too much about it, you could sell all your keystones and whatnot. So there is gold to be made from it. It's not the best way to get money while leveling. I wouldn't say that, but XP wise, it's on par with the other gathering professions.
You hit on the best piece of advice there. If you're gonna be trying for the professor title on your alts, and you're going to be doing it anyway, you might as well do it while you're leveling.
Pretty much.
Yep.
I do remember back at BlizzCon. Well, I didn't go to BlizzCon, but I, paid for the stream like I have been for the last few years. So I watched all the Warcraft panels and what have you. You can follow them too, on pretty much any news website. But anyways, one of the things I think they mentioned this. I know they've posted about it some, but they really wanted to have some kind of museum, some other functionality for when you complete these items, the artifacts. A lot of people argue, you take the time, you dig up these things, then you just vendor them, like a broken tooth or whatever, any other common gray item. And that was it was okay, but, then the first major patch hit, of course, or no, it was 4.06, which, added pretty good value to those items.
Oh, yeah.
Things that would make sense to sell for more now, like the rings and whatnot. They actually sell for a few hundred gold, and there's a full list on the website, but all the commons sell pretty darn good nowadays. And you're still vendoring the items.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people going into Cataclysm thought that they were going to take these items to like the Ironforge Museum, for instance. I don't know if the Horde have an equivalent. I imagine they do, but
yeah, like just have something more lore based with all the items.
Yeah, like you would still get gold for it, but you would actually go hand it to somebody. You wouldn't just toss it onto whatever vendor's close. So.
And that's the museum that they were sort of discussing.
Well, and here's the blue post from the Ask the Developers, number 7, their professions post they made, and it says, originally we didn't intend to create items at all when you completed a normal archaeology find, but that didn't feel right. So now we have these items that still don't feel right because you can't do anything fun with them. I said we're working on a more thematic and interesting way to consume the artifacts you dig up. These include returning them to the museums for the devoted archaeologists, and the option to continue vendoring them if you wish to continue your career as a cold-blooded treasure hunter.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's from, mid-May? They posted that. I'll put a link to it in the video description. And they also said, additionally, we plan to add daily quests, a deeper story, additional skill ranks, and the flexibility to focus on a specific race. Have we really seen any of that yet? Not really. They did add the fact that, if you have all the items, all the artifacts from one, like trolls, for instance, or night elves,
Mhm.
you will tend to get those dig sites a lot less, and that was kind of nice.
Well, that's something we really should touch upon. People have been ranting about that specific part of 4.1. Said if you complete all of a race, you have a much smaller chance of getting digs for that. Many people are saying that it's not true. It's a lie. I've done the research, and it is a much bigger, much less chance. Before 4.1, for every 4 or 5 night elf sites that I would get, I might be lucky to get one Tolvir. There would be days where I'd go 4 or 5 hours in a row with nothing but night elf sites, night elf all day long, and that used to be my daily goal. Was I'd log on, all I wanted to do was 4 Tolvir solves, and sometimes it might take me 8 hours to do that. But after the 4.1 hit, and I had already had all the night elf rares done, dude, I was getting for every like 3 or 4 Tolvir dig sites that I was getting, I would get maybe one night elf. So it is very noticeable.
I mean, anyone that's watching their numbers that have actually posted on the forums or anything, I mean, they've noted that. It's simply, I mean, yeah, it's not enormous, but there is quite a difference. I mean, I personally have not kept track of my numbers to that extent, but I mean, I can just tell by the feel of it.
Yeah.
I simply am not getting very many Night Elf dig sites in Kalimdor or whatever, so there's definitely a change. I mean, things have changed a lot since the initial launch of Cataclysm, I think.
Yeah, I've talked to people on the Zenrock threads on MMO and Battle.net, and they were saying that, all they really wanted was Zenrock. They had all the fossils, they had all the dwarfs, they had everything else, and they were only getting, like maybe 40% troll sites in Eastern Kingdoms. And now they're saying, some people are saying that they're getting like about 80% troll dig sites while farming for Zenrock. So, so it definitely is a change. It's in there.
Yeah, and there are 5 races you can get there, with Rubian being, a small percentage of that, but...
So yeah, if a lot of people are just not realizing that when it does say you have to get all the rares, that small chance or the increase is only really going to happen once you finish everything else.
Yeah, which is only fair. I mean, but like I said, they increased like the fragments. That one hotfix, which I can't remember the exact date of that one, but yeah, they bumped it so you get 3 to 6 fragments, 7 if you're a dwarf. For when you survey at least at level 85.
Yep.
Or skill, I should say skill, 450 and above. So.
So you're saying they also said that they're planning on adding daily quests, deeper story, and additional skill gains. Have you heard anything else about that?
No, it's just the ask the developers. Global Q&A, number 7. That's the only thing they've really mentioned about this.
Yeah, well, we could speculate on it. I mean, well, if they would have daily quests, they have jewel crafting daily quests and fishing daily quests and stuff like that. I could totally see them implementing that, giving you like an extra 3 levels for going to Stormwind or Orgrimmar and saying go dig up, like go make one night elf artifact or something, and you come bring it back. Give you a nice sizable chunk of gold, maybe even a reward in that is an additional fragments, like they mentioned. They mentioned that somewhere, right?
Well, no, they're just saying additional skill gains. They didn't really say the method by which you get them, but one reward for doing a daily, I think, could be a keystone, basically.
Oh, there you go.
But
that'd be 12 fragments.
Well, and not like other professions. I mean, the dailies have been essential to jewel crafting, basically.
Yeah.
That's at least, yeah, that's always stuck out there. But as far as cooking and fishing, I mean, you had them in Shadrath, you had them now in Dalaran. Now you got 3 different hubs in Cataclysm, since they added Darnassus and, well, all the capital cities, depending on which faction you're with. There's 3 different sites, but there's just a lot of dailies for cooking and fishing and whatnot.
I'd love to see them implement some new achievements, just like the Darnassus fishing achievements, and where you got to go and do the 5 different dailies. I'd personally love to do that.
They have been doing it on my main every day. I'll go check like Darnassus or whatever.
Yeah, Darnassus is all I got left. But it'd be cool if there was archaeology ones too.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's a new profession. Like any new profession, it's got areas to grow and where it can expand and all that. But I don't see why they couldn't add some kind of archaeology daily to the game. It just wouldn't have to be essential, but
Be something more fun.
Yeah, it's like you said, go basically survey a night elf artifact. It's something simple. I mean, the jewel crafting ones, half the time all you gotta do is cut 3 gems. It's pretty darn simple.
Well, hopefully in 4.3 we'll see. Well, to finish out that Q&A, they said some players may not have noticed that all artifacts have lore associated with them in the journal, even the gray ones. Every bit of it is genuine lore and verified by our lore masters. So were the dollar and coins, of course, but not those silly romance novels. That's another little thing I was talking about the side podcasts before. I'd really like to see if we have any of our listeners that would like to get involved. Anyone that's really really good with the lore, anyone that's really read the books, and anyone that would love to discuss the lore of archaeology. I personally haven't read the book, so I don't know. That's just another idea for a side project we're thinking of doing.
Yeah, you can just speculate, kind of like I thought of adding basically a Wikipedia section to the website, in which case people could come and fill out more information on every artifact.
Yeah,
some of them are like intriguing, like the Innkeeper's Daughter. It's a rare, but people, there's a weird story associated with that one. You got to go look that one up. Apparently, you can read the Wowhead comments and all that. But yeah, every piece of, if you want to call it junk, has lore associated with it. Definitely.
Love to have a nice little hub of,
That's why you have your journal. You got the information there. That's why the lore people probably really, really love this profession.
Yeah. Well, come let us know if you guys would be interested in that.
And there's even more ideas of what to add. People have recommended something like consumables, maybe, that you could potentially either complete or survey, somehow get them like a scroll, maybe, from archaeology.
Yeah, or like a pot or a flask or anything consumable. You think once you dig up the artifacts, you'd also dig them up?
Well, and like the the canific jar, I think that's how you pronounce it. Where you get your alchemy recipe. That thing can kind of have anything inside of it. So
yeah, that'd be great to have in the jar.
Yeah, it'd be nice for as much time that people put into Tol'vir. It'd be kind of cool if there was little quirks like that would pop up every now and then.
Well, I've completed like 98 jars, so I hope I get it all retroactively if they add stuff in there.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Maybe, even with jewel crafting, what did they have? They had something that would give you extra points, was it? I know it was extra tokens.
Oh, like inside the little reward bag, or?
I actually forget exactly where those came from, but I remember you could buy them from the auction house and whatnot. You would turn them in. It would give you an extra token, like you get from the daily.
Oh, like the dust or whatever.
Yeah.
But, something like that. Something you can get some consumables, maybe some extra little, kind of like dust. Like the sands come off of the artifact things, and you get 10 of them. You can go to the city and turn them in to get like a keystone or something of your choosing. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, even going back to a museum, the fact that you would turn it in, you would get some kind of commendation. Yeah. Saying, hey, good job, buddy. And they give you a commendation, which you can then turn around and use at a vendor to get potentially a pet or something. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to see more mounts and pets.
Oh yeah, that's one great thing about the profession. Half of it is mounts and pets, it seems. The rares, anyways. So.
Yeah, the pets that was the original reason I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do archaeology because I'm a pet hunter.
I was glad to get the professor title.
3 more titles. Also, what's to come? I think they have to add another title because
we'll see.
If they add another 8 more rares, which we're all pretty sure that they're going to be doing, it's going to get up to like 40 rares or a little less, a little more, and then the 20 rare title is going to kind of be obsolete.
Well, see, there's more to that though. I said the stunning, most recent example is the Exalted title.
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed that when Cataclysm hit, I'm like, because I had like 46 exalted reps or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing hit, and bam, I already got 45 achievement and all that. But then, as we got all the Cataclysm reps, I was sitting at, I think, 54 reputations.
Mm.
And the last achievement was still only 45, I think. But then in patch, what was it, 4.1? Or was it a hotfix that they added the Exalted?
Yeah, no, it went forward, then it went back, and then
Yeah,
it bounced
they
around.
moved the Exalted title from the 40 achievement to the 50 achievement, which I thought made logical sense. I mean, I don't have the Insane title.
I
So,
do.
I consider those to be the really tedious reputations. But I
Well, I
don't
think
know. It's just 40. I have like 54 exalted reps right now. I only need 40 to get that title, so that kind of loses some prestige.
so. Yeah, I think that they could approach it either two ways. If they do intend to do anything more title related, they can mess around with how many rares you need for the professor title, which I really hope they don't, or they can just add another higher one, which I hope they do.
See,
I've
and that's
always I've always wanted Jones, like the title Jones.
right.
For Harrison Jones, like if you complete every single rare after a certain, like if they add more and you get 40, you'll be Morpson Jones or Uriah Jones.
Or you could be like Jones Associate or something, like part of the little Jones Club or something. But
That's wishful thinking, some wish list stuff.
that's just something Blizzard has to work out with their achievement system.
But I think no matter what, we can expect more
Oh yeah.
later because it's not like they're not going to add more to the profession.
I mean, we are not seeing our title in Cataclysm, but I'm sure we would in the next expansion.
For sure. Yeah, there's sometime down the line there's going to be more.
I said it comes down to, they went from the 50 back down to 40 for the Exalted. And I think certain achievements should scale with the game. The game is always changing, as anyone should know, but I don't know. 40 is not that many reps anymore.
I don't know. I have 56. And
yeah, we still need the Avengers Exalted, and we're probably going to get another one or two in this expansion.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of adding stuff to come, I definitely see them having to add more rares because all the rares that are out now are 359, and there's already been the 2 new raids that you're getting gear that's making all this gear obsolete. So, I mean, if they want to keep Archaeology fresh, they're going to have to add like 379, or whatever the current item level is, items to kind of keep up with it. And I think that goes to the 10th race icon, which I've always said I thought was going to come out in 4.1 or 4.2, and then that race
4.3,
yeah. So like 4.3, I'm hoping we'll have the 10th race have to do with whatever the new raid's going to be, and have it be that race and give that item level. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be nice. I personally still don't think it's going to happen because this is a secondary profession for one, and for it's unique, above all other secondary professions in the sense that you actually get gear from it. Sure, you don't particularly get a new Band-Aid halfway through the expansion or even new food. I mean, you pretty much have all your secondary stuff from the start of an expansion.
Well, Jewel Crafters, you get epic gems.
Yeah, but that's not secondary profession.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking about that. They do add occasionally the enchanting recipe or definitely the blacksmithing and tailoring and all that. But it's a secondary profession, so I don't know how they're going to swing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one way they can go. I mean, if they just start to treat it just as a secondary profession, then we can't really expect much more love from them. We can hope, though.
Well, one of the big arguments I think they had for that was they wanted like everybody to be able to do it, basically. Which I was like, yes, another secondary profession, because the completionist side of me was really waiting for that with Cataclysm. But, then you could go back to the museum idea, where you would take your level 85 items and actually upgrade them, maybe.
Ooh, kind of like the Dalaran ring?
Like you could do further research on it somehow or something.
Yeah, that could make sense.
I mean, even Zenrock, make it Zenrock number 2 or something. I don't know.
Ooh, or maybe even be able to come in there like reforging him.
That's what I mean. In that sense, you would reforge it into a more modern weapon.
Because we were talking about the fact that rogues have no love in archaeology. That's one thing I've always heard is they're hoping that they do add something for them. That'd be sweet if you can completely change like Zenrock into a rogue thing.
Yeah, sundered into 2 daggers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Oh, I bet they'd look cool too.
I mean, that is the funny thing. I mean, there are 2 level 85 staffs, which I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of, well, that's nice for me, but most people, I don't know.
It's one of those things that we just have to wait to see if we can sit here and speculate on it. But sadly, all we have really to go on are the Q&As from the devs, and we can look for one little word in there to give us a little hint. But it's a waiting game. I'm personally excited about it. I'm kind of getting on the edge of my seat every time, waiting for the PTR to come out and hop on every patch day to see if they added anything new.
Oh yeah, like I said, they definitely have the room. They can go pretty far with this expansion, or with this profession, I think. So
Yeah, hoping they do.
yeah, that leads into the dungeon buffs. That was something they had the foresight of adding to the game with Cataclysm. The fact that they want, your max archaeologist or whatever to be able to turn in a keystone and get a buff for that 5-man.
Oh, and also they added the archaeology boss in ZG, which is sweet.
Right, which is appropriate, really. I mean, that place is kind of like, an archaeology site. The fact that, there's plenty. It's just, there's old ruins there, basically, so.
Yeah, well, it's the dungeon buffs. What do you think? Do you like them or do you not like them?
I like them. It's just, and especially initially, I mean, I wouldn't really use my keystones. I mean, maybe in a guild group, but I really didn't pug too much, though. But
yeah,
I mean, the buffs help you, but nowadays it's kind of like your weapons that you got from archaeology. They're just not that great because you don't particularly need them. You got the random dungeon buff. People are just, simply are wearing their first tier of gear in this expansion already. So
yeah, it was more helpful at the start of the.
It just doesn't scale or anything. I think that was a success on Blizzard's part.
I think they're still useful though. I mean, it really depends on. I mean, if you're playing one on your alt, if you got a group of friends and you want to go and level up and it really goes down to your own server how much keystones are worth. A lot of these keystones, I probably got over 1,000 Night Elf keystones, and I used to sell them every day. There'd always be 100 up, and the server just crashed on them. They'd get down to like 10, 15 gold each. And when you go into an instance and you do the turn-in for the trolls, I mean, you still get 16 gold reward for turning them in, and you get the 5% buff. So, I mean, in situations like that, definitely use them.
Yeah, you've mentioned it. I mean, and that is the big factor, I think. The fact of, I will never use a Tol'vir keystone because those are always going to sell.
Yeah.
They're always going to sell, in my opinion, so. But yeah, as far as Troll, Dwarf, those ones, you can get them pretty cheap, or you might be like me and simply have every Night Elf artifact, so you don't really care what you do with your keystones.
Yeah.
So you can just waste them, so to speak, in a 5-man pug. Yeah, I mean, you still do get the buff and everything, and some people, the one buff wasn't Grumbatol or something, it's only against elementals, or.
Yeah, but most of the stuff in there.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of giving the buffs to really help with whatever instance you're in.
And that was kind of neat. It wasn't just like you do 5% more damage.
No,
it is actually unique to every situation, kind of.
Yeah. I like them. I did a good job. And in ZG with the archaeology boss, I think that's sweet. That's the only profession that you get to fight more bosses through profession, right?
That's the only one I can think of. Like Druids, they had their Mount quest in the Burning Crusade with the Seth Cole's boss, which you can just walk in there and kill his blood. But
in Serpentine Cavern, you could fish up the one boss.
Yeah, you can fish up Lurker. We'd have like 5 people casting, trying to get him up, which I understand achievement for and all that. But well, I mean, SSC, that's the only way you could get him up there. So. But that's a raid boss too.
Yeah.
as far as 5-mans are concerned, archaeology is pretty unique in that aspect with soul grub. So Morpson, 32 rares. How do you feel?
Relieved that it's finally done. God, I spent so much time doing that. Also wanted to say congrats to Scoot. I don't recall what server he's on, but he got second person in the world to get 32 rares. And he only did it in like 1,600 solves. Bashi did it in 2,000 solves. Here I am, 32 rares, 3,562 solves. I'm relieved it's done. Thanks.
He's on the Skull Crusher US server. Yeah, that's SCUT. You can find it, of course, on Wild Dig site. The recent article, saying we got 3 people now, at least have come forward with the 32 rares. So, yeah, like he said, I mean, how many souls was it?
3,562.
And how many did he have? Like 1,200?
I think he actually. I'm gonna look right now. Let's see. Bashi completed 32 rares in 2,075, and Scoot completed in 1,637.
There you go, people. 1,600 souls, and he has all the rares. Yeah. This is the RNG factor. Yeah. And the fact probably he, did a majority of these after that, the rare change. The fact that...
Yeah, I did most of mine before 4.1.
Yeah.
I had like 2,500 solves back then, and I still didn't get 26. Damn you, Tolvir staff. And that is officially my favorite item from Archaeology, is the Tolvir staff, because that's the one that allowed me to stop digging.
It's a favorite one because it's the last one.
Yeah, favorite because it's the last. Whew. Until they add more, and I will gladly go back to digging away.
Well, do you want to talk about some of the best paths you think for like somebody starting out archaeology?
Yeah, from our last podcast, somebody made a suggestion. They asked if to give a little bit more comprehensive talking about the paths on how to get all the 32 rares. I just wanted to basically say what I did. From the beginning, I started at level 85 when I was doing my digging, so I didn't have to worry about being level 20 or any of that stuff. But, I had it in my mind that I wanted to complete every achievement, and also I wanted to get every rare, so I just thought about the best path to do it. And I suggest that you start out in Kalimdor, due to the fact that Night Elf has the lowest requirement to get a rare, which is the Queen Azhara's dressing gown. So you might as well start there so that you can knock that one out first. You can also get your fossil rares that are like around 100, 150 or something. So you stay there until you get to level 300, which is when you can go to Outlands. And I definitely suggest that you do all of your leveling in Outlands. You can get all the rares and the commons there. There's only the 2 races there, and there's a short amount of commons and rares. And by the time that you stay in Outlands and you get all the achievements and you get all those rares, you should be able to move. You should be right around 375, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. If you are less, like if you do complete every Outland common and rare and you're not 375 yet, I'd say go right back to Kalimdor until you reach 375, and then immediately go over to Northrend. The reason that you want to do Northrend and Outlands before 450 is because you're going to have to be digging up these rares anyway, and you want to maximize your amount of time digging above 450 in either Kalimdor or Eastern Kingdoms, because that's where the good rares are going to be. So you might as well level up in those 2 areas. So also in Northrend, you could basically stay there until you level all the way up to 450, or until you get just complete basically the Rykul and the Nerubian achievements there. If you do miss the last Nerubian rare and you do get past 450, you do have the choice of going to Eastern Kingdoms to start digging up your Zenrock and your Dwarf and all that stuff, because you're still going to have the opportunity to get your Nerubian. But I'd suggest just go ahead and stay in Northrend even past 450 until you complete all those rares. So you don't ever have to come back, because also after 450 you are going to be getting Night Elf dig sites, and you are going to be getting Troll dig sites there, so you might as well stay. But after that, then it is really up to you. Once you've completed Outlands, once you've completed Vrykul and Nerubian, it is really up to you which continent you want to focus on. Dwarf and Troll, they have a very small amount of rares. So if you want to choose, if you really want Zinrock, obviously you're going to be going over to Eastern Kingdoms to do majority of your digging. But if you're after the professor title, like, is your main goal. Like, if you don't want to get all the rares, but you do want to get professor, after you get done with Northrend, it's a better bet to go over to Kalimdor, because of the fact that trolls have a lot more rares. Night Elf has 7 rares, and Tolvir has a lot of rares, but you won't be able to get those until 450. So, at that point, it's really up to you.
Yeah, and it makes sense, like you said. Outland, there's only 3 rares. You got the Orc headdress, you got the Draenei teleport thingy, you got the Arrival and the Naru. There's only 3 rares.
Yeah, and there's only, 10 commons or something?
Oh yeah, not very many. So, and the great thing about Outland is there's only 2 races. So,
yeah,
it's not, I don't think Outland's a huge area, but there's only 2, unlike every other continent, there's at least like 4, so you get to focus a lot better.
And especially past 4.1, now, like, if you do finish off Orc real quickly, which, you can technically finish off Orc in your first 10 solves, and then you should get like 80% of just Draenei. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, and to even touch on Northern, again, there's the Vrykul.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with Northern, there's the Vrykul and the Nerubian. You got 4 rares with those 2. But, you also have Troll, obviously, and the Night Elf, whatnot. But there's not many rares if you compare them to, say, the Tolvir or Night Elf or even Fossil, like you said.
Mm-hmm. When you are in Northrend, especially when you're getting close to 450, with your Trolls and your Night Elf fragments, just save them up to you get around the 200 fragments, just in case if you do start solving a lot of Rykuls and then you hit 450, you'll be able to immediately go train, and then you'll have 200 fragments of each to, solve past 450 and get a better chance of getting the rares above.
Yeah, until they put that hard cap on the fragments, there was a little bit more strategy to things. But,
oh, yeah. You
could have 4,000 Troll, like you said, or whatever, something crazy.
I had like 6,700 Night Elf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you are doing Northern, just solve, the 2 that are unique to that area. Well, there's some Nerubian and Eastern Plaguelands, but they're very minuscule, so...
Yeah, it's kind of like Dwarf in Kalimdor.
Yeah, it's hardly, a blip on the radar, but... Yeah, then you could just save, but, obviously if you're hitting the 200 cap, you don't want to waste those, so, feel free to solve them.
Alrighty.
But you mentioned, the staff is your favorite item because it was the last one, but,
yeah.
Like, what other, favorites do you have?
Well, I think, like when I started Archaeology, like I was saying before, I'm a pet hunter and a mount hunter. That was kind of the motivation that pushed me over the limit of saying, okay, I'm going to go do it. So I love the pets. I the little mummified monkey paw from Tolvir, the little hand that follows you. Yeah. I love that pet. I got that up all the time. And the bug mount, I thought I was going to love it a lot more, but I just love my one-click X rocket, so I just never really use it unless I'm trying to show off and be a jerk and randoms.
Yeah, it's one of the nice... once I finally get that mount, I think I might use it. Like, I really like my motorcycle. I really like my little rockets, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's
the bug mount, I was just saying, you had AQ, which had, the 4 bug mounts, one being a, was it legendary?
Well, there was the black one that you get for opening up. There was actually 5. Yeah, there was the red. There was a red one, the green, the blue, and the yellow. But all of them, you can only use them inside.
Exactly.
That's why everyone loved the mount from Tolvir, so you can finally get to use them outside.
Yeah, you get the battle tank, or... That's pretty cool.
Well, I should add, of course, I'm neglecting the I still use I use the the dwarf staff because it's such a great staff, and I use the night elf trinket and the Tolvir ring as like my gear that I use right now still. So
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta be sure I give some love to those.
I think I still have my Tolvir ring on my warlock. So, man, once I finally get my priest 85, I'll definitely use that trinket from the night elves. But
Yeah.
as far as my favorite rares, among the ones I actually have right now, like I said, I really like the amber because it reminds me of the trading card game statue item you can get.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it makes you a little bit taller and like turns you into a statue or whatever. Just I don't know. I like a lot of those trading card game items, but I don't want to pay for them. So the amber's nice. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed it shrinks your model a little bit. But I guess that makes sense if you are referring to Jurassic Park or something with the little mosquitoes in the amber. I wasn't sure if that was their motivation for that. That's what it makes me think of.
Probably.
Yeah, like I said, when I finally get that mount, I'll probably use it for a while. I don't know if it'll end up being like the mount for me, but yeah, I mean that's one that you never see anything like that,
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
It's a unique model, definitely. Unlike Baron's mount or it's a horse basically.
Yeah.
You're riding a freaking bug though. There's not many bugs you can ride in this game outside, so.
Yeah, like that and the turtle mount. I love the turtle mount.
Yeah, and I still haven't got that one. The majority of my fishing was done before they put that in the game, so unfortunately I still need to go get that one.
Nice.
But in the crawling hand, a warlock buddy of mine, he's always doing Tolvir because he wants to get that hand, and it kind of is an appropriate pet for a warlock, I think. And I couldn't, if I had it, I'd probably be using that most of the time too, so.
I got lucky and I got mine relatively quickly.
Yeah, I got the darn scarab thing. Which a lot of people, it actually amazes me the feedback you get back from the scarab. With all the little bugs running around you. And people are like, what is that? It's archaeology. The giant Naga costumes.
Yeah.
Which is fun to use with the druid. What's it, the fountain item? Yeah, it shoots a giant green beam. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's always fun to use with anything that makes your model bigger, your hitbox.
Yeah, a lot of people have been really underwhelmed with a lot of little side blue rares, but they are fun in little situations. Sitting around waiting for a pull, AFK break, kind of bust them out.
Oh yeah, like every second wipe in a raid, I just put an array of stuff on the ground. I'm just carrying around all the time. Just like my Archmage staff, all the way from the Burning Crusade, I still carry that thing.
Oh, nice.
Which, summons the image of him. And I should have took a screenshot of him. It's kind of like wearing like people will take a little stuffed animal around the world and take a picture of it. It's kind of the same with that staff. It's like I've had that mage pop up pretty much everywhere now. So.
Oh yeah, I got rid of that years ago. I wish I would have kept it.
I don't know. That's been in my bags. God, for how many years now? It's crazy.
I remember I threw away mine once and I had the quest completed in my log. And I had to go to a raid, and then somebody busted out, and I was able to turn in the quest from theirs. I thought that was pretty sweet.
Right.
I'm actually, I knew I would regret it sometime. I was thinking of doing that project where I deleted all those little small rares that I didn't really care for, and then kept digging to see if you delete it, can you get it again? Yeah, I kind of wish I would have just, we knew that you weren't going to be able to get it, but I went and tried it anyway. I wish I would have kept them now.
Well, I'm sure you can take it that. I mean, it's amazing how far back GMs can actually track if you had an item or not.
Oh, yeah. They gave me something from 4 years back.
I had a friend get a pet rat back from many years ago.
Nice.
Companion pet, so. Yeah, anything like that, they'll restore for you, so.
Yep. All right. Well, what other rares would you like to see in the game? If they're going to bring out any more, what would you like?
Well, with 4.2, we got the Fire Lens. We get the High Jewel dailies.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are doing those right now, and most people have actually just unlocked the 3 vendors where they can actually see the 3 vendors that are kind of like the end game for these dailies. Which, it comes down to which one do you want to unlock first, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They all got, some of the blacksmithing recipes, but all of them have basically a vanity item and a pet. Which actually costs a good penny in gold, but like the Moonwell quest, you can get this mushroom chair which I think is really cool. It's kind of like the Gone fishing chair from the trading card game. You just plop down your mushroom chair and fish or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
It works with fishing.
well, I read comments at it. I haven't, personally been able to try it yet. But yeah, I mean, that's the theory behind it. You can use it while fishing and all that. But yeah, it'd be nice to have more vanity items like that. I mean, pets are good and all, but I don't know. I think archaeology could have some more vanity. And all the old BOAs they added, old meaning, their Outland or 61 or 71 level range. Yeah, I think they did that basically to keep things consistent. It'd be kind of weird if you only started getting items at 85.
Yeah.
In that sense, it had to be a little bit retroactive. People are like, oh my god, this thing is useless. It's level, 51. And,
Yeah.
like, well, you got to see it from their point. But so I'm sure we'll see, more items like you said. But
I'd like to see them add some real BOAs, like ones that actually do scale with level.
yeah.
No.
I've had a friend complain about that. He came back to WoW, right? So he didn't have any BOAs, even though he's like technically a veteran, so to speak. He was kind of like, man, I wish they'd had some kind of BOA you could get, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not going to do that, man, because they want, the veteran people to get those.
Yeah.
And just from their viewpoint, they're never going to do that. But I don't know. There's so many BOAs you can get nowadays. If you're grinding archaeology, you most likely have access to those. So it comes down to that, too.
Well, so I think they should add like at least one cool thing that would, make it so that everyone in the game would want to do archaeology. Like make it like some 5% experience trinket or something.
Right. That's like the fishing tournament in Dalaran. That's the only place you can get that BOA ring.
Yeah.
Where you get the 5% bonus and all that.
Yeah. So I mean, if add a trinket or maybe even add another ring to archaeology, that'd be sweet.
Or even you would discover an item that you could take and actually choose a BOA.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's plenty of room for expansion with the profession. We'll just have to see where Blizzard takes us. But, any item... Said I'm not a huge lore guy, but I'm sure lore people would actually have a lot more to contribute to what you would like to see come with archaeology, as far as vanity and all that is concerned.
Yeah, and definitely feel free to let us know, you lore people.
I mean, developers do read those forums, your feedback is, maybe not our forums in particular, but the Battle.net and all that, opinions do matter, they don't lie about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, to reiterate today, thanks, Morpson for coming on here with me. Yeah, we planned to have Boshy with us, but he couldn't make it today, but, in the future, we, like I said, plan to introduce that guide on the forums, the complete guide, so to speak. We might have the original guide author on here next time. Boshy and Morpson still plan to do their side podcast. Just them rambling basically about, having the 32 rares complete.
Ego time.
Oh, yeah. And we did have the archaeology screenshot contest on the forums. Unfortunately, we did not get many submissions, but, we do have a winner now and all that, which went to Martok maybe. You can see that on the forums. You can check out the screenshots he submitted, but, congrats to him. He won the Pandaren Monk companion pet from the Blizzard store.
Nice.
We plan to have, more contests in the future. You don't really have to participate in the forums too much to submit something, so be sure to keep an eye on that. We'll, of course, announce that through Facebook, Twitter, the news on the website, all the channels you can get in touch with us at. Anything you want to say, Morpson?
No, just thanks again for WoWDigSite.com. Such a great place. I love being able to be involved with all this stuff. It gives us true archaeology addicts a place that we can all get together and talk about nothing but archaeology, unlike MMO and Battle.net.
Well, they do their profession section, but we try to specialize, so...
Well, I'm active in all of them.
Right. Well, thanks again. This is WildDigSite.com, second podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on YouTube, the FeedBurner feed. There's many. We're on iTunes now, actually, so there's many places where you can subscribe to this podcast, which will all be linked here in this post. So thanks a lot, guys. Hope you enjoyed listening to us ramble again. Again, if you got any suggestions, feel free to contact us on the forums. Drop us a note somewhere. We will read it. We will, take that into account. So thanks again.
And we'll see you guys next month.
Yep. I'll see ya.
Keep digging.